with Paranormality Magazine, and I am here with Brie.
Hi.
Hashtag Be Like Brie.
Yes.
So, where did the hashtag Be Like Brie come from?
When I started my journey, somebody actually started putting hashtag Be Like Brie on my posts, and when I would talk about my road trip, so it just kind of stuck because my whole deal is trying to encourage people to go out there and to go conquer their bucket list. And so like it turned it's a movement. It turned into a whole life of its own with, go be like Brie, go do what you want to, go follow your dreams, chase your dreams.
That's a very good motto. And it was always a bucket list item to be in the paranormal for me. And now it just sucked me in. So, I think that's what a lot of it does. What got you into the paranormal?
Okay, so I've dealt with the paranormal my whole life. I had my first experience when I was 6. And but what got me into the paranormal, this is a funny story. So I got divorced. My teenage son sat me down and they were like, "Mom, you've always had a passion and a love for the paranormal. Why don't you start going to conventions? Why don't you start going to events? Why don't you start pursuing it?" And so that's what I did. And I was actually going to an event in North Carolina, and I pulled off at a rest stop, and I just had like this feeling that I needed to do something fun with my trip and document it. And so that's what I did. And I started it actually on Twitter. And then I took everything from Twitter and transposed it over to Facebook. And it just took off. It grew a life of its own. And I haven't had a weekend off now since June 30th.
Yeah, I see
So,
that you're busy. You got your paranormal road tripping with Brie. Now you're with Get Haunted,
no, I'm
which
not with Get Haunted.
you've done
So,
events. Okay, so you've done events with Get Haunted.
yeah, I did events with Get Haunted, but I'm not with Get Haunted. So it's just my paranormal road tripping with Brie.
Okay, okay. So was that just like a temporary thing with Get Haunted, or was that just like a special, hey, come investigate with Brie type situation, or?
Um, I got brought on as family, and then they were trying a new position in Get Haunted as a brand ambassador. So I did brand ambassador for a little bit, but they've shelved it because they're trying to tweak it and see what works and what doesn't. And that's okay because I've got a chance now to focus on my brand with Be Like Brie and the paranormal road tripping with Brie. So
which
um,
is which is fun. I love your videos. I've
thank
watched
you.
you for a while, and I followed you for a while, and then I just happened to see the post the other day that you're in town, and I was trying to find a meeting place, but I was like, you know what? Let's just do it on StreamYard because it's easier. Everybody can be a little more relaxed. But I was like, yeah, I need to get her for the magazine because what I'm trying to do is focus on positive people in the paranormal community. And you're just full of positive energy. Every time I see you, it's just like, yes.
Well, thank you. I love that. I love what you're doing with trying to bring positive because there's enough negative out there that we need that positivity focused on. And that's what I try to do is you know, I try to focus on the positive in every situation, regardless of weather. I mean, I've been out on a location and the heavens opened up and I got torrentially downpoured on. I mean, this past weekend it was freezing and it was raining and you got to find all the positives. There's enough of the, what I'm trying to say, like the crap in between. We
The
don't.
high school drama
Yeah, the
that follows.
drama. Yes, the high school drama. There's enough drama that and a lot of it's petty. We don't need to be focusing on that. We're all in it for the same reason. We might just all do it differently. And we might even all have this different beliefs and different backgrounds, but that's what makes us unique and should draw us closer together because we can learn from each other. So that's what I try to focus on the most is how can I learn from you? What do you bring to the table that I might not have even thought about before? I'm willing to listen to anybody, see every viewpoint because there's things out there that I don't know. Last time I checked, I'm not Jesus. I don't walk on water. I don't know everything. You got to be open to learning. So, and to be willing to learn, you got to be happy. You got to be positive about it.
Exactly. And just recently you've done some pretty cool investigations. You went to Agalays Village.
Yes.
And then before that you went to Old Blackford County Jail.
Yes.
So how were those investigations? Did you get anything crazy, or you just want to keep it under wraps?
I can talk about it. I mean, because I went live at both locations. I went live at the Old Blackford County Jail twice, and I attempted a live at Agalays Village, but the Wi-Fi was so not happy with me there. So,
and it's the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, the middle of nowhere, and it was like I couldn't go. It was weird because I couldn't go towards the front of the church, and the front of the church is where the most activity. Like when I did my walkthrough, because I was taken around to like all the buildings that had activity, and with me having abilities, they were curious like if I could pick anything up on the buildings and the environment. And when I was in the church in the front was just you could feel it. It was heavy. It was negative. Like, and whenever I would try to go towards the front of the church when I was live, like it would cut the live. And I was just like, all right, you don't want me up here. I don't know if it's Wi-Fi or you. I'll go back to the pews. Not a big deal. So, but yeah, Blackford County Jail, that was a lot of fun. I hadn't been there before. I've highlighted the Monroe house. I actually highlighted Monroe back in mid-August. Eddie and Pam invited me in. I had reached out to them to see if they would let me do a highlight on their location. So getting to go to the jail, because when they were walking me through the house and giving me the history, Pam had even mentioned like how there's like just that one piece of wood in the basement that's left from where they housed the prisoners when the jail was being built. So to be able to get to the jail then and see the jail firsthand and see the correlation between the two locations, I thought that was really cool. But yeah, there was a lot of activity like in the jail cells. We were getting a lot of activity. I was even standing next to a REM pod that was just going completely nuts. I think that was on my live. And at first we were thinking that it was our phones because Gabby was on her phone. She was live on TikTok. I'm live on StreamYard. And we're like, well, she was like, maybe it's my phone because she would walk by and it would go off. And I'm like, I don't think it's your phone because I'm standing right next to it and it's not it's not reacting to my phone. I even put my phone all the way down to like where it would like trip the antenna. And then that's when it finally went off. I was like, it's definitely not the electronics. This is genuine activity that we're getting in here, So, I mean, I'm a big person that you can't just, something lit up and made noise. Look at what we got. Like, debunk it. Is there a way to debunk it? Is there a way to, this is electronic, interference? You got to go from there. So we did that, and it was genuine reactions. We were getting genuine, responses to questions. So that was really cool. And I had a lot of fun there. Like, definitely had a lot of fun. When we were in the living quarters on the second floor, like, I definitely was being affected by the energy up there. I was feeling sick. Gabby started feeling the same way. So it was like we were able to validate what the other person was feeling. So, but as soon as I went downstairs, I was completely fine. So that was real interesting because I haven't been in a location where I got sick and somebody else got sick at the same time, but walking away made it better. Like, I'd never experienced it to that level before. So that was really cool. And then at the village, definitely picked up on different things in different areas. You could tell where the residual was. You could see where things were still present. You could feel where things were still present. It was definitely interesting. I went live on just regular Facebook when Grace, the little girl Gracie in the cabin, started responding to me and my questions. So that was really interesting to see how that was. But yeah.
Isn't that great when you just get like these such intelligent responses when you're asking questions, and it every time it happens to me, it just like blows my mind. It's like, is this really happening right now?
Yeah. Oh yeah, because then you gotta like look and make sure like you're like, all right, like I mean, before I went live, what people didn't see was before I went live, I actually took the K2 and I was checking and making sure that there was nothing on the table, under the table, in the chair. There was nothing around. Nobody had anything on them that would trip the K2. I wanted to make sure that I was getting valid responses. I even moved it from one side of the table to the other to see if the spirit would move with it and to see if I would get, like, if the conversation would continue. And it continued. Like, they brought a second K2 out to see, and they put it too close to me, so I ended up moving it away. Because I didn't know, like, if it would be feeding off my phone or not. I didn't feel comfortable with that. I want to make sure if I'm showing evidence, I'm showing, truth, especially when I'm live. Because a lot of people can see a K2 light up, but not realize it might be too close to my phone, so I moved it, but it was like, you're seeing these intelligent responses and you're just like, what? Like, yeah, like it blows your mind. Like, you're just like, holy cow, this is really happening right now. So I had a lot of fun with that for sure.
Both of those locations are on my bucket list of the places to go. And it feels like living in Indiana and living in this area, there's just so many different like paranormal hotspots. It's very nice, and then it just makes your list really long, and you got to go to all these places. So,
well, that just means you never run out of stuff. You don't run out of things to do then. So
I know, and it's great. And then you build the relationships with the owners of these places, and it turns into a family.
Yeah,
which is great. I did go to the Monroe House actually a couple weeks ago, and some of the intelligent responses. And I had a cap. So that one doll room has the Ouija board table.
Yeah.
I had a cat ball on there, and all of a sudden it started rolling. Yeah, the video is up, and I did everything I possibly could to debunk it. Like I'm 290 pounds. I was jumping up and down, and it could not replicate the ball rolling. And that's a flat table. It just,
wow.
It was like something hit it, and then it just rolled in a circle and then stopped. But there was no one near the table.
That's crazy. That is real exciting, though.
I think that's the best piece of evidence I've ever caught. So, yay!
Yes, yay!
Luckily, I had my full spectrum camera on there recording. It just, but there you get such intelligent responses, and then like literally right across the street, you got the old Blackford County Jail, and it's like you wonder if any other buildings that are right there, or some of these houses that are right there, are they haunted as well?
I would imagine that they are. I mean, the history of that area, especially like when I was talking to Eddie, he was telling me like when he was digging the fence posts to fence in the backyard and like make that camping area, like with the fire pit and everything. He said he would be digging up the holes, and it wouldn't be like one or two arrowheads. Like he would find handfuls of arrowheads that would be coming up in the dirt. And like I'm a huge history buff, so I was telling Eddie, I was like, you really need to research with the local tribes that were indigenous to the area, because Indian tribes would move with the herds a lot of times. And was this area known for a lot of movement of tribes going through following the herds? Was this a localized like actual settlement at one point in time? I mean, being from Ohio, I didn't know the history of the local area too well, but I told him that that's something to definitely like look into for himself. And also, you got to think too, could it have been a trading post? Especially with the amount of bodies that they found that were just buried haphazardly in the backyard as well as under the home. And from what Pam was telling me, that when the coroner came and was trying to exhume the bodies, the bones were so old that when they touched them, they actually like just turned to powder. So I was like, there's so much here you got to take into consideration. And so if it was a trading post, if it was, I mean, the Indians aren't going to just stay to like one plot of land, like how we mark out, this is my home, this is my backyard, front yard now, right? They would be spread out for how many acres or miles with their tents. I mean, they wouldn't be too far spread out because they would still want to be close together for protection purposes. But you got to think they're going to have, you're going to have your medicine man here, you're going to have your chief set up here. You're going to have, there's a certain way that they would set up their tents, that they would set up their homes. And so you would have your animals that would free roam, of course, and the ones that you would keep in the pens. So from where the Monroe House is to where the Blackburn County Jail is, yeah, I would highly imagine that is possible. The probability is high for a lot of those homes to have residual or hauntings that do coincide with the land, the history of the land.
I really want to just like survey those houses, be like, hi, I'm a paranormal investigator. This might be crazy, but do you have paranormal activity? And then the next thing I know, I end up in a straitjacket somewhere. So it's okay.
Hey, the stigma's not as bad. You might actually have people that go, as you mentioned it, my cup of milk just went flying off the table. You want to come in and talk? I mean, you might end up with somebody like that. You might have a couple doors slammed, but I don't think you're going to end up into a straitjacket just yet.
And that's the thing. When growing up, it used to be, the paranormal used to be such taboo.
Yeah.
It really did. So, and it's now so mainstream because you got all these shows on TV, you got all these YouTube channels. Plus, we got all this technology now. So we're like in the golden age of the paranormal investigation world. So,
Yeah, it's definitely evolving in a very positive manner, I believe, from like what I've seen, because I'm a 1980 baby, so growing up and seeing how I remember when the first TV shows came out with like Paranormal State and Ghost Hunters, and then Ghost Adventures followed along, and watching the progression, and then the Paracons are popping up and they're starting, and I mean, definitely the stigma has lessened a whole lot. So I think that it puts us in a better area to where we could go and talk to people, like, out of curiosity, knock on a couple of doors, like, hey, we're investigating here, we're curious, do you have anything happening with how close you are, is there anything going on over here? I think that is a little bit more acceptable now than it would have been like 10, 15, 20 years ago.
Right. And even like in the early Ghost Hunters days, there were people that would mock it all the time, or Paranormal State. They just mocked it. And I remember I met Steve back in, I think it was like 2006, and very nice guy. But we talked, and he's like, there's just some people that just think I'm crazy for doing paranormal investigations. And now here we are, 2023, and he's still got a TV show, and now those same people are probably just watching the show.
Yeah, they're probably eating crow, I'm sure. I mean, like, I don't really have anybody, like, I don't know about you, I haven't really had anybody tell me I'm crazy. If anything, like, I've gotten accused of like, oh, so you conjure demons now? Like that's what I heard. I'm like, wait, what? No.
My wife thinks I'm crazy, but I don't think that's related to the paranormal.
Oh, okay.
That might be something else, but she's supportive, which is great. What is your craziest experience during an investigation?
I've had two really crazy experiences. I've had a few actually.
Then share them all.
Okay, so let's see. Edinburgh Manor. I think that's how you pronounce it. I always screw up the pronunciation. I'm bad with that. Sorry. In Iowa, I met the owner, Cindy. She let me on the property and do a highlight. I did a part 1 and a part 2. So on Saturday, I went to the manor and I highlighted and I spoke about poor farms and how this property had started off as a poor farm and how it progressed up until it was shut in November of 2011. Yeah, 2011. And so we were talking about that, and like she was like, I've got a tour that I'm giving on Sunday. Do you want to come back for the tour? And I was like, yeah, sure. So I went back on Sunday and was able to go through on the tour. And then she let me go live from the inside and like show the different rooms, show the red room, the blue room, you know, which was made famous from, you know, Destination Fear, now Project Fear, and talk about the Joker. I had free reign. I just had to be careful with who I showed on camera. And I was getting ready to wrap up, and I'm walking around the corner on the first floor, and I'm going to the left, and it's the room that had the teenage girl who was repeatedly sexually assaulted by a worker. And as I'm talking about this, and I think we're even mentioning the Joker too, I felt like a burning sensation like on my hand. And so I had to hand my stuff off in the middle of the live, hand my stuff off, and you could see like manifesting on camera a scratch from like my knuckle all the way down my hand. So like that was crazy. But you know, somebody that was there, they were like, "Oh, is that, you know, oh, it's demonic?" And I was like, "Well, not necessarily, because you got to look at this is where like I love incorporating the history, and you got to think of it this way: if you're in a place that was a poor farm, right? They would bring the mentally, and in their terminology, like the rejects of society, the people that didn't fit the mold. Even as a wife, if say like if your wife didn't cook you the dinner that you wanted and it really upset you, you could bring her and drop her off and she's gone. She's in the poor farm now, you know. But when it comes to people with mental issues, those normally were dropped at the poor farm and they were stuck there. So you've got people who might have been deaf, who had speech impediments, who had bipolar mental issues. And back then they didn't know or have the understanding for all of that then. So what if scratching or throwing, banging or knocking was the only way that they knew how to communicate? So getting a scratch isn't necessarily demonic. This is where knowing the history of where the dead are, the spirits are, you know. What if that was just somebody trying to get my attention? They wanted to communicate with me, and I wasn't realizing that they were there trying to communicate with me. So the only way that they could was by scratching me, you know. So putting a positive light on that, you know. But so that happened there. When I was at Old Hospital in College Hill, I did a isolation session on the fourth floor. My paranormal brother Joe wouldn't let me do it by myself. He insisted on being up there with me, and we're getting really good K2 hits. Come to find out later on, I'm actually communicating with the nurse that never clocked out at the end of her shift. But on my live, like something ran past Joe in the hallway, and I happened to catch it peripherally out of the corner of my eye. And like, I'm just kind of like, wait, did I really just see that? And he's like, you know, what the F was that? And I'm like, I don't know. And then you hear the door slam. So that was really cool. And then like I was standing in the pharmacy and I turned my back on the room and I'm standing in the doorway and I'm like, they're behind me. Like I can tell something is behind me. So he took his Polaroid camera, took a picture, and in the top right corner, you can see like a white figure that looks like a robed figure almost. And then directly behind me on my right, there's like an 8 to a 10-foot shadow figure. And then coming out of the ceiling is a squid looking shadow figure. You can actually see like the elongated body and like the tentacles coming off of it. Somebody actually enhanced the picture 5 different ways. And in those 5 different ways is when you can see the clarity of each thing that's in the picture with me. So that was really cool. And then Mid Orange was insane. I actually during my live, I was live with 3 different people. It was Joe again, with Joe's son Dominic and our friend Gil. And I actually had walked into a room, and I think we were in A4. Yeah, it was A4 that we were in. And I'd walked into a room, and every time I tried to walk out, the REM pod outside the door would like go off. Like it wanted me to stay in the room. It was really weird. So I ended up leaving the room. I was like, okay, I can't stay in here no more. Like, you're not going to hold me hostage in your room. And I literally felt like my curl, like on the side of my face, get picked up by the roots and like moved, like draped over my ear. And I'm like, you guys, my hair is moving. Like I can feel my hair getting played with. So I flipped the camera around, and Joe and Gil are watching the bottom of my hair, just like somebody's just doing this, like to the bottom of my hair. And then like I had also felt something caress my face, and like they've got, I think, Spirit Talker running. And before I get my face touched and before my hair gets played with, it comes across on the Spirit Talker blonde hair. I'm the only one out of the four of us with blonde hair. And next thing you know, my blonde hair is getting played with. And then right after that happened, my left hand, I was holding my red light in it. It got squeezed so bad that I ended up dropping my flashlight from the pressure on my hand. And I was like, so I've had like three really cool, like, I've had a lot of experiences at places I've gone, but like physically speaking, like those were like my biggest, really cool physical experiences.
That's crazy. It seems like,
Yeah.
and I'm also talking from personal experience. It seems like certain people get touched by spirits more than others.
Oh, I get touched all the time, especially if there's kids. I mean, there's other touching experiences I've had, but those are the three that stand out the most in my mind, especially because I was live during those. But yeah, like the touching is insane. Have you been touched? Like,
absolutely. Pretty much every single investigation I've been on, I have been touched. Like, yeah, it's crazy. My first ever, I went with Ghost Hunts USA. I know.
I don't judge. I don't judge.
I actually did a story about their demise, but so I went to Indiana State Sanatorium. It was me and the wife, and then a coworker of mine and her fiance. We went down there, and one of the rotations, we were in the nursing home section. Have you ever been to ISS?
I went for the Paracon and I highlighted it. And
okay.
Yeah, so I mean, I got to go into one of the buildings, but I plan on going back to highlight the location, and I'm hoping I can do that soon. I'll probably be there in the winter. So.
Yeah, pack warm.
Pack warm.
I was just there again, not last week, but
okay.
I've been there 3 times. I love it. I just absolutely love it. Love that building. I would live there. Not really. But so they were in the nursing home section, and they were in the dark, and there's a little bit of light because the moon and some lights outside. So they're putting us in each of us in these doorways to these patient rooms. Well, they put me in the nurses station, and there's like a linen closet, like med closet right there. And I'm standing there. It opens up, and this like white like nurse figure just comes out, and I scream like a little girl. And you could hear my wife down the hall laughing her ass off at me. and you're just anyway. So they moved me. The tour guide. No, it's funny. I always tell this story. So they put me in the intersection of these 4 hallways in front of the nurses station, and these people witnessed this. The 6 other people and the 2 tour guides witnessed this figure come out of the nurses station, come up to me, put its hand on my shoulder, and then disappear.
Oh wow, that is so cool.
Here's some crazy things on a follow-up. That shoulder that she touched was hurting. The next day, it didn't hurt anymore.
Oh wow. Now, had you mentioned that it was bothering you at all while you were there?
I think I said something to my wife. I don't know. I can't remember. I just remember that. And then I was back there in April, actually a week before Project Fear went. And we're doing an Estes session in front of the nurses station. And the one guy that was with us, he didn't know about that previous story. And he's like, "Hey, Cody, I don't want you to freak out, but I just saw this white figure behind you in the nurses station."
Whoa.
And then when I was back there last week, I saw the nurse again down the one hallway. She was.
That's awesome that you keep having a nurse experience, though. Like normally, like you have it once, and you might have something different happen when you go back, but to continuously have a nurse experience, Like evidently there's something like they know you can see them, like that they purpose, like I feel like they're purposely showing themselves to you.
I think so the first time I ever went there, I was a full-time EMT. So I don't know if it's because I was in the healthcare field and I brought that up while I was there that I was an EMT.
So you made yourself a safe space.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And
So,
I totally believe they don't forget that stuff. So that could be why you're continuously having that too.
but I've been like grabbed. Like I went to the Monroe house. I was in the building for 5 minutes, not even 5 minutes. I went upstairs to the kitchen upstairs, and I was just doing a walkthrough, and something grabbed my leg. I got pushed in the basement. Like I was live on TikTok and just pushed.
Oh wow.
So but like everywhere I go I get touched. It's crazy.
Yeah.
I think I'm just a magnet for them.
No, I get it. I'm the same way. Wherever I go, I somehow, some way, like I will end up getting touched. So I totally get it.
And the first time you're just like, oh, okay, so this is cool. And now I'm just like, I'm used to it.
Yeah. It's like when they play with wherever I go, they tend to play with my hair. Not every location do I get my hair played with, but they do like to play with my hair. So I'm just kind of at the point where I'm like, you want to touch my hair? Touch my hair. It's okay. Like, and other people are like, why are you inviting? And I'm like, well, what if that's the one thing that we get to see? It doesn't bother me as long as they're not pulling my hair too hard. I don't care.
Right. Like you get these people like, because I'll do investigations. I'll be like, listen, like spirits, listen, if you guys need to borrow some of my energy to make some of these devices go off, you're free to use my energy as long as you don't attach yourself to me or follow me home. And people are like, that's crazy. You shouldn't be doing that. And I'm like, I ground myself as soon as I go outside, and then I'll do a cleansing of myself before I go home.
Yeah.
So I'm like you got to set boundaries, and that's, people don't do that.
Yeah. I mean, as long as you've got your boundaries set and you know what you're doing, it's one thing. But when you don't understand and you're just going in antagonizing, you're going in and you're like, use my energy, and you're not setting boundaries, that's where the issues arise. And not a lot of people understand that.
Yeah, I've had to explain that. So I have an 8-year-old son who loves the paranormal, and he's going to be a phenomenal paranormal investigator. But I was playing with my S-Box, and he said hi to it because I was asking questions. He said hi, and we immediately heard hi.
Oh, wow.
And then before I got a chance to say, hey, buddy, let's calm down, he's like, do you want to be my friend? And it's responded, yes. And I'm like, no.
Uh-oh.
No.
Uh-oh.
Smash that with a hammer.
Right?
So
turn it all down.
So I'm like, buddy, he has got to be a beacon of some sort, like a beacon of light. Because he gets sick in certain locations. Like now, he's only been to the Bell Mansion because I haven't taken him to anything that's like really dark. But like, there's on the 3rd floor. There's a little boy spirit. His name's Andy, and he'll interact with my son Emmett. But like the last 2 times he's been there, he's like, my stomach hurts.
Ooh.
Yeah, and I'm like, all right, buddy, let's go outside. I usually he carries a protection stone, just trying to, do what I can to protect him.
Yeah, that's good.
Now, do you have any rituals that you do before you go into a building or after you get out of a building, or?
I keep anointing oil in my car, and I'm a Christian by faith, so like I'll say a prayer. I will open myself up, but I say my prayers as I'm doing it. When I'm leaving, I will say my prayers as I'm leaving. So like that's about as ritualistic as I get. I'm not spinning to the left 3 times and to the right 7 or anything crazy like that. Like I know some people do.
Did you call me?
No, I didn't call you. Although my phone's going crazy over here.
You're just a popular person.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out.
I'll just edit this out. The second I'm walking in, it's fine. I'll just throw it in. No, so like if I know the location's not a dark location, like I don't really like do anything as I leave. But like the Monroe House or like Indiana State Sanatorium, I'll go out into the grass barefoot, let Mother Earth take all the negative energy, and then I'll sage myself when I get home. I saged my house once, and then I woke up outside. I don't know what it means, but
What?
That's a joke. That's a joke. I saged it. My kids are like, "Oh, I can't breathe." I bet you can't, you little demons. No. See, I'm that person on a paranormal investigation. I'm always joking. Like,
no, I do the same thing, and I'm always the one that'll say the bad joke at like the wrong time. But I get the really cool EVPs from it though. So
yeah, that's the thing. You gotta try something different. Everybody does like a cookie cutter approach when they're trying to get EVPs, and you just gotta try something different.
yeah.
What are you staring at?
What? Oh no, something caught my. I had a hair that's like.
Oh, I was like, is there a spirit there? You gotta stare at like.
Not that I know of, but.
So I'm trying to think if do I have any more questions? Actually, no, I don't. Is there anything you want to share?
Well, right now I'm in the middle of a collab with Chris Smith, who is the star in Hulu's Monster Inside, exposing McCamey Manor. So we just did part 1 of our collaboration on Sunday, where I went up to Michigan and he took me to 2 different Halloween haunts. We actually spoke about that last night on the Haunted Road Trips YouTube. We went live and spoke about that there. And then Friday, I'm doing a Halloween special for my paranormal road tripping with Brie. And I'm starting off at Hinsdale House. I'll be doing 3 days, 2 nights there. I'm actually waiting for a callback for a location that's possibly going to be an overnight on Sunday night. And then I'm going to be hitting a new location every day leading up to the first ever East Coast Para Expo that I will be a vendor at, repping my road trips. And then on the 6th, I will start heading back here to Fort Wayne. So,
what are you gonna investigate when you come back to Fort Wayne?
I don't know. I'm gonna have to talk to him and be like, "What are we doing, babe?"
I really love the opportunity to investigate with you guys. So
I'll have to talk to him about that. So yeah,
I know Nick.
Yeah, he told me that you guys have known each other for a while. So
yeah, I'm actually going to the Hinsdale House next year. Actually, 2 of my friends are getting married there.
Oh my gosh! Wow, that is so fun.
So Lindsay and Angel, they actually were tour guides at Crescent.
Okay.
And they met at Crescent. Their first date was at Crescent, and their first kiss was at Crescent.
Aww.
And their plan was to get married there, but something, because of the ongoing legal battle, they can't get married there. So they booked like a whole weekend, 4-day weekend at Hinsdale House next August. And there's going to be like wedding and reception and paranormal investigations. And I am so down for it.
Oh, I would yeah, that's something you can't say no to. I mean, wedding, reception, and investigating, like, yeah. Definitely can't say no to that. I'd be there for that.
All right. Well, I'm going to wrap this up. This is Brie, everybody, from Brie's Paranormal Road Trippin' with Brie. Yep. And some big things in the works for her, and we're excited for it.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, I've got some more stuff that's in the works that will be getting released in the next month to 2 months as things get solidified. So there's quite a busy schedule. Some
So by
pretty
the time
exciting things.
people actually see this, because this video won't be released till December,
Right.
they will probably know what's going on if they're big
Yeah,
fans of
they'll know by then, because the second part, because Chris and I have our second part that we're gonna do here in the next couple weeks, and my road trip, my New England Halloween special trip will be done. So everybody will know where I've been and where I spent Halloween at, because I'm not releasing where I'll be at Halloween Day in New England. I've actually got some special collaborations in the works for that as well. I'm going to have some special people popping up and doing collabs with me on that trip. And then there's other things, though, that have not been spoken about that people will possibly know by then, or it'll be getting released after this video drops. So
I'm excited. I'm very
yes,
excited.
me too. Thank you.
All right, I'm going to stop the recording.